In this lesson, we will learn how to utilize NodeMCU documentation and go over general purpose input-output and timer module. In the previous lesson, we flashed NodeMCU firmware on ESP8266 board. The NodeMCU firmware we shared was custom built with various modules we'll be using, like ADC, BME280, CJSON, DHT encoder, file, GPIO, HTTP, I2C, MDNS, MQTT, Net, Node, PWM, SNTP, SPI, Timer, UHG, UART, UCG, WebSocket, Wi-Fi, and WS2801. For this lesson, we'll go over GPIO and Timer module, but if you want to learn more about the other included modules as well, search and look for them in the NodeMCU documentation. The NodeMCU's documentation can be found in nodemcu.readthedocs.io/en/master. To look for the documentation of certain module, you can search from the highlighted search tab, or by scrolling down to the module in question. Let's search GPIO. Here's the documentation of GPIO module. GPIO stands for General Purpose Input-Output. If you want to work with any sensor or actuator, you'll be using the GPIO pin. If you want to read the data from a temperature sensor or turn an LED light on or off, you will be using the GPIO pin on the ESP8266 dev board. On ESP8266, there are multiple GPIO pins available. You can attach the sensor to any of the GPIO pins on the ESP8266 board for it to work. Keep in mind that we do not need anything else to use this module since GPIO module was part of the custom-built NodeMCU firmware. There are many methods in the GPIO modules. Let's look at the mode and read methods. Mode method has three parameters: pin, mode, and pull-up. Pin is the reference to the GPIO pin. Mode is the type of mode we want to use. We will be using output and input mode most of the time. If you want to take input from the sensor you're using, you need to use GPIO.input mode. And if you want to send instruction to modules, you will be using GPIO.output mode. For example, if you want to read the data from a temperature sensor, your mode will be GPIO.input because the temperature sensor would read the data from the environment and send it to the ESP8266 board for the use in the program. Similarly, if you want to turn on LED light on and off, you need to use the GPIO.output, since the program will need to send the signal to the LED module. These would make more sense once we use them in our program. And as for the third parameter, we won't be using it for now. When you use methods, last parameter can be skipped and the program will run just fine with the two variables. Read method is exactly like what it sounds like. It reads the data from the GPIO pin. It has a single parameter pin to read the data from the pin. Next, the timer module. Timer module goes by the keyword TMR. Search TMR to go to timer module documentation. There are many methods in the TMR module. There is TMR.create method that is used to make an alarm, but in order to make an alarm in the program, you need to use the alarm function in the timer object methods. This function has three parameters: interval_ms, mode, and function. Interval ms is the interval in milliseconds. Mode is one of the three timer modes, single, semi, or auto. And function is a callback function which is invoked with the timer object as an argument. Check out the code in the yellow box. This is an example of timer initiation. On the first line, you create a timer object named myTimer using tmr.create. Then we use the register function to make a timer with 10,000 millisecond interval. The third line shows how to change the interval to 3000 milliseconds, and the last line starts the timer. Let's try running this code in the ESPlorer. Copy everything in the yellow box and paste it on the ESPlorer. Save the file and send it to the ESP board. Once you do, Hey There will be printed every 3 seconds indefinitely. The modules and its methods we went over today will make more sense when we use them in our program. So don't worry if you didn't catch everything. In the next lesson, we'll go over blinking an LED light. If you have any questions, let us know on the IoT4E Community Board. Thank you.